Stampers, welcome to fancyforstampin.com. I'm Adamson-Cauler. Today we're going to make this fun little project. It's wall art. This one says wine. If you like wine as much as I do, then you're going to want to make this. My husband is a wine maker. He makes wine for us quite often, and it's pretty good stuff. Got him a winemaking kit about 20 years ago, and it's been downhill ever since. So this one says wine, and this one I'm going to give as a gift. It says vino. And this is going to go to my mother. She was born in Italy, and I did this one in Italian just for her. So here are the things you are going to need. You are going to need one 5x7 shadow box frame. Okay, we'll set that off to the side. This one is not a shadow box frame. I paid probably $3 for this frame at my favorite French store called Target. This one is a little bit more expensive, but if you use one of their 40% off coupons, I got it at a local craft store. Okay, so you need a 5x7 frame. I'm choosing to use a shadow box frame because I sort of like that look a little bit better. And then you're going to need a 5x7 piece of shimmery white cardstock, a piece 5x7 of Very Vanilla, a scrap of shimmery white cardstock, and then just various lengths. This one is about a 1/2 inch by 11 inches, and this one is 1 inch by 6 inches, I think. They're scraps of cardstock. I just need them for the straight edge. You're also going to need, the ink you're going to need is Fresh Fig, Tranquil Tide, Crumb Cake, and Elegant Eggplant. So I'll set all of those up here for me. You're going to need a couple blender pens, some Memento ink, and the large letters framelits, specifically the letters W, I, N, and E. Now I know this is a pretty pricey investment, but think of the possibilities when you get this set. This isn't the only word you can spell with this. You can make all kinds of wall decor using this framelit die and a stamp set. Okay, we're using the half-full stamp set, which was in the holiday catalog this past year, but it did make the carryover list, so you can still order this stamp set. We need paper snips, foam adhesive strips, and some washi tape, some old expired washi tape, and we're going to use the stamp apparatus. Okay, this is a way to show you how the stamp apparatus works and a way to show you how to make this cute little piece of wall art. Now, this is a trick I learned, or was taught, to take this stamp case for the stamp set that you're using and to place it under the door or the hinge right here, so that when you add ink to your stamps, you have a solid surface behind it. Let me see if I can widen the angle on my camera a little so you can see a little bit better. Oh, wrong way. There we go. There we go. You might see some background stuff that you normally wouldn't see, but that's all right. Okay, and you're going to need this stamp from the set. It's the one that says wine improves with age, we improve with wine, on a clear block. And the wine bottle stamp, there's a hair stuck to it, and the set of glasses stamp. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 5x7 piece of shimmery white cardstock, and I'm going to shove it into the corner of the stamp apparatus. I have the door with one set of hinges on the right and another set of hinges on the bottom. Now it doesn't matter which way you orient it, but I like it this way because I know I can shove the cardstock down into the quarter here and one of my magnets to hold it in place, just like that. Okay, and this is how I decide where I want to set the stamps. I sort of eyeball where I'm going to cut out my letters. So I set them on my cardstock, and if you want, you can take this 1-inch piece of scrap cardstock and set it down here along the bottom. Sort of to give you an idea. Okay, and this piece of shimmery white cardstock, it measures about, let me see, it's 1.5 inches wide, so you can use that on this side to measure 1.5 inches in. Well, that's a little too much. We're going to measure in 1 inch from the edge where we're going to set our letters. Okay, now these don't need to be straight. So you got about a 1.25 inch at the top and the bottom and 1 inch on either side. Okay, so I want my wine bottle to be right about there when it's cut out. Okay, over toward the right side of the W. And my wine glasses are going to be right there, a little hanging off the N and the E. Okay, now my letters are crooked, but that's okay right now. We just need to get the stamp straight. So I'll close my Stamparatus lid. Okay, and those look pretty straight to me. So let me get rid of these letters. I have a leftover piece of magnetic, I don't know, sheet that I ordered a bunch of these on Amazon. They were pretty large. I have to cut them down, but I don't throw my scraps away because something like this is good for keeping track of your letters when you're working on a project. Okay, so I'll set those off to the side, and I've got my wine bottle and my wine glasses here, and I'm going to ink those up with Memento black ink. I'm going to get some nice ink, good ink on there. Make sure they're all inked up. And we are going to close the Stamparatus. There we go. You don't have to push real hard on this, but I do like to rub over it to make sure I've got an even image. And if I don't, the beauty of having a Stamparatus is I can just lift, re-ink, and stamp again, and it will go right over the same images. Okay, so there we've got my wine glasses and my bottle of wine done. We are finished with the Stamparatus. I'm going to set that off to the side, move my Stamparatus out of the way, and let me wipe off my stamps real quick so they don't stain. They probably won't, but I'm going to wipe them off real quick anyway, because I'm anal like that. Okay. And the next thing we need to stamp on this scrap of shimmery white, we just need to stamp 3 of the bunch of grapes on the bottom corner of this stamp. So I'm just going to ink up that corner. And I have a scrap grid sheet here. I'm going to set my paper on there. Up. Flip it over. Hate it when that happens. Okay, and we're just going to go off the end. Here's one. Okay, and I'm going to cut that off. there we go. 3 grape bunches. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start coloring our images. So this is where I use a blender pen. I need my scrap grid sheet again. The bottle is done in Tranquil Tide, and I have my excuse me, blender pen and some ink in the lid, and I'm just going to grab a little ink and start coloring. I like to go all in one direction. Let's get it a little darker here. If it's not dark enough, you can always grab a little from the lid or from the ink pad. There, that's nice and dark. Okay, we got the bottle done. Let's wipe off our blender pen. That's why I got this piece of scrap grid sheet under there. Get rid of this Tranquil Tide ink. The label at the top of the bottle is in Fresh Fig. I'm going to close this up and use the other end. I think I opened a re-inker and put a little ink in this one, in the lid of this one. So we'll color the label at the top. I really like the way watercoloring turns out on this shimmery white cardstock. Okay, we've got that done, and we need to do the wine in the glasses. In Fresh Fig. Okay, while I've got my Fresh Fig out here, I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to color the grapes on each of these 3 bunches. Okay, so I've got my grapes colored in Fresh Fig. I'm going to get rid of this ink pad and pull over my Elegant Eggplant, and I'm just going to add a little Elegant Eggplant to my grapes. Just to add a little dimension, just a dot on each grape, just like that. Okay, and I forgot to tell you, you're also going to need your Lemon Lime Twist ink pad for the leaves on these grapes, because these grapes are done in Tranquil Tide. Just a little in the middle on each. Okay, and then I'm going to get another blender pen too. Some Lemon Lime Twist around the edges of the leaves. And then you guessed it, all of these grape bunches need to be fussy cut. Okay, you don't have to get real intricate in the details, but you do need to cut them out. Okay, so we did that. Our grapes are colored. I'm going to set those off to the side. Our bottle is colored. Our wine is colored. Okay, and now we need a little crumb cake ink to add a little color to the wine glasses. Just a little. And the stems. And the label. And I just do a little at the bottom, a little in the big spaces. That's all. Okay, just like that. Get rid of this. Okay, now we're ready to figure out how we're going to place the letters on the sheet. So this is where this piece of scrap comes in handy. I set it at about the 1.5 inch mark on my grid sheet, and I'm going to tack it down with a piece of washi tape on either end so it doesn't move. And I need to wipe off my hands before I get ink where I don't want it to be. I may already have, I'm not sure. Okay. So then I take this stamped 5x7 piece of shimmery white and I line up the left end with the 2-inch mark. I bring it all the way down to this line down here, this black line. You see what I'm talking about? Yeah, I think you can. This black line here. So you see how this strip goes across the stamped image? Now I'm going to line up my letters. Oops. Here, we need to tack it down with a piece of washi tape so it doesn't move in one corner. Okay, and then we're going to line up the letters. And I want about 1 inch gap on the left side. So W, I, and I butt the letters right up against each other. The bottom of the letter rests along the edge of this piece of paper down here. That helps me keep the letters straight. W-I-N-E. Okay. So there we go. They look straight to me. I found that sometimes the more I fiddle, the worse it gets. Okay, those are straight. So now we need 2 long strips of washi tape to hold those down. One across the top. We can move that. And one across the bottom. Okay, and I'll take this over to the big shop and cut out those letters. And I will be right back. Okay, I could get rid of this strip, set it off to the side. Let's see, how did this work out? Carefully take that off of there. Okay, I have a W. I have an E. I have everything stuck together. I have an I. And I have an N. Awesome. Okay. I've got my letters and my base. Okay, I'm going to set those off to the side. And I'm going to spend some time fussy cutting my grapes. If I can pick them up. Here we go. Okay, I'll cut one for you so you can see how detailed I get in the cutting. I just go around real quick. And that's it. That's one grape bunch. And I'll be back when I have the rest done. Okay, so I've got all my pieces cut out. My 3 grape bunches, my letters. The next thing I'm going to do is take my piece of Very Vanilla cardstock, 5x7, and I'm going to layer it behind the cutout wine, okay? Because the background on the frame is black. I haven't tried it yet with a black, but you also need something to attach the letters to. Okay, so with my adhesive, I'm just going to go around the edges and attach this. Oops. Of course, I'm doing this on video, so I'm going to have to mess it up at least once or twice. Okay, this end, just around the edges. Okay, another thing I did was I took a glue dot and I put a glue dot under the W. These pieces that stick up loose, and on the N. At the top. And under there. Okay, so we've got this attached to my Very Vanilla piece, and I'm going to set that off to the side. Next thing we need to do, take all of your letters and flip them over, and we're going to add adhesive strips to the back of each letter. If I can get them out of the bag, we'll do that. Okay, let me see. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. Get it out of my way. Alright, so we don't need very long pieces. You want to cover as much of the back as you can, because when you put it in the frame, you don't want any part of the letters to be smushed down by the glass if you choose not to use a shadow box frame. Okay, so I'm going to do this with all my letters, and when I'm finished, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the adhesive foam strips attached to the back of each of the letters, best I could, covered up as much of the back as I can. Next thing we're going to do is start mounting. So we'll start with the W. Just need to remove the paper backing on the foam strips and attach the letters. I start down at the bottom, line it up. Looks good. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I did not come up with this idea. I saw this on a crafting Facebook page and thought it was just awesome. And so I decided to try doing it myself. Unfortunately, I do not remember the name of the individual that I got the idea from. Isn't that awful? So I wish I could claim credit, but I cannot. This is definitely a case project with a few of my own additions. The ones I saw on the Facebook page did not utilize the grape bunches. Okay, so there we got the letters down. Now we got our grape bunches. And we're going to need just some little pieces, or you could use, I guess you could use the mini dimensionals if I could find them real quick, and I'm not going to find them real quick. So we'll use these foam strips. We just need a little piece on the back of each. And we'll put, you can either set it here under the W, under the I, or I'm going to set this one over here on this side under the W. Here's one. Okay, and then these two. Just tuck that under a little. You can have it overlap the E if you want. There we go. Isn't that adorable? Okay, next thing we need to do is put it in our frame. Open this up. And then you can hang it on the wall if you want, or you can set it on the kitchen counter. The only issue I have with these shadow box frames, well, there's two. One is that they can be quite pricey. And three, they have to be hung, or you have to stand them like this wherever you want them. There you go. There's our piece of wall art. Why, as my husband would say, why not? This frame, as I was saying, this less expensive frame has one of these on it, so you can stand it. If you can stand it. Get it? Ha ha ha. Okay, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed your visit here today. If you have any questions on what I did, please feel free to let me know. Shoot me an email. Talk to you next time. Happy stamping.